BrooklynHits.com, music that makes you feel good. Garrett Lawson here with another Community Spotlight where we highlight a local business or nonprofit in the community. Today I am joined by Amy Virginia Buchanan, a local artist, theater artist, event planner, clown extraordinaire. Amy, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. So I understand that you have a show that you wrote, and we'll be performing that this week on Wednesday. And it's called Wednesday and Thursday, called The Michael Show.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about The Michael Show.
Okay. So last year I was accepted to this program run by Fresh Ground Pepper. It's a theater company community that's mostly in Brooklyn. And I submit this proposal to write a play that I would perform about the experience of growing up with a brother with Down syndrome. And I got accepted. So I spent from March until December of last year cultivating this piece, and then I performed a very rough reading of it in December. So on Wednesday and Thursday, I'm doing 2 nights of that show.
Is this the world premiere?
I suppose it's a bit of a premiere, yeah.
Okay. Or are we still in previews?
Well, I think we're still in previews, honestly, because the point of doing it these 2 nights is to interact with an audience with the script.
Okay.
It's the closest that I've come to clowning in my performance art here in New York, and clowning requires an audience to play.
Right.
And so I've invited a lot of the people that mean the most to me, as well as the rest of the world, to come and watch this and hopefully give me feedback so that I can go into some intense rewrites as I begin working with a director.
Okay, so you said there's a little bit of clowning aspects to the show, and that the show is based off your brother Michael. Before we get into the clowning aspects, tell us a little bit about the premise and the story, if there's a story, or about Michael.
Totally. So there's a lot of information about having a child with disabilities, but a lot of it only highlights the very positive elements of that experience, and there's hardly anything for someone who is the sibling of someone with disabilities. And I wanted to present an extremely honest, straightforward account of all the very best things and all the very worst things about having a sibling, specifically with Down syndrome, but mostly with special needs. And so the story, I suppose the framework is that I walk you through a day in the life of Michael, but it's interspersed with lists like, am I allowed to curse?
Sure.
Like the shitty things I did to Michael when we were kids, or the list of things that I'm afraid of when it comes to Michael, or the list of house rules that we have that are different because of Michael. And then I sing some during it. There's this part where I act out what it's like to watch TV with Michael, which is super weird. He's a very interactive TV watcher.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like breaking down all the things that I struggle with as a human because of having Michael in my life, but also all the things that are so joyful because of his existence as well.
Wow. So how does the clowning come into it?
I mean, mostly in the sense, so in clown, I theatrical clown more than I skill set clown. I'm not a good juggler, or my acrobatic skills are decent, but it's a pretty physically present play, and I'm very vulnerable during it. It's straight on audience address, and I am receptive to their reactions, and so I'll edit it as I go, change bits and pieces based on what they laugh at, what they're upset by. So when I say clowning, I mostly mean that it's a relationship based on play between myself and the audience, and the script is pretty set, but it can change based on what they want to do with me.
So since it's such a personal piece of work that is rooted in your family, has Michael or your parents read the show or seen the show? How are they?
Michael is so excited that it exists. He keeps calling me, being like, "Hi, Amy, Michael show. I see on Facebook." But Michael will never see the play, and my parents, I don't think will ever see it either. They might someday, but I don't know whether or not they like it.
And how does that make you feel as an artist? Because I understand, with a lot of artists, we draw on our personal experience, and usually there's an impetus in us that we have to get out and share it with other people for a certain reason. But a lot of the times, when it comes to the ones that are close to us, our family and friends, sometimes we don't want them to see it.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's definitely easier to be very honest with a group of strangers,
right.
you know, and especially with this piece, we're saying some stuff like in front of humans for the first time. That, you know, in the process of developing the play, it was hard for me to kind of break into certain elements of myself, like my list of things that scare me most about Michael. Like, you know, I go into my fear of also having a child with special needs, my wonderings that will it be different when Michael dies, and addressing those like head on, which it's easy to say it to a stranger. It's hard to like look your mom in the eye and be like, what's it going to be like after Michael dies, you know? So yeah, I definitely am curious to see what someone thinks of it objectively, who knows me not at all, and what, you know, my best friend from childhood would think of it after having seen me grow up with him and watching our relationship develop.
So what has been the most rewarding aspect to working on this show? Have you discovered things about yourself? Have you fallen in love with your brother even more? I mean,
I definitely have learned to appreciate him and his role in our family and our community more by dissecting our relationship. It's kind of helped me not be so mad at him whenever I go home. He's the oldest child, I'm the youngest child, and I get so cranky about, you know, exceptions that are made for him. He's still my sibling, you know, and he throws temper tantrums, or he's bratty, or he pisses me off, just like any sibling pisses you off.
Right.
But because I wanted to make something objective about him, something that's truly like artful and not just therapeutic for me, but universal in its specificity, it's kind of forced me to see him as this entity beyond sibling, which has been really strange and interesting. Because I mean, ultimately, that's the idea that instead of me getting up and doing, you know, an hour of personal growth therapy in front of a group of people, that I've worked on it hard enough and crafted it artfully enough that I can separate myself from it and simply present what I know, which is truth, but also something that can be a gift for the audience that they can relate to or understand, can walk away and want to like have a conversation about, instead of just be like, oh, you know, thank goodness she sorted through her feelings. That's the goal, to make honest art.
Honest
right?
art,
Yeah.
great. So this Wednesday and Thursday, the 4th and the 5th, what time is the show and where can we go see it?
8 p.m. and it's at a space called Cloud City in Williamsburg, 85 North 1st Street.
Okay. Thank you, Amy Virginia Buchanan, for sharing the Michael Show with us today.
Thank you, Garrett.